Hello, and welcome to Social Media Essential for Business, a workshop facilitated by a Service Corps of retired executive, and the counselor Patty Ross. As you well know, SCORE collaborates with the Small Business Administration to provide entrepreneurs with the knowledge they need and the advice they crave. They provide expert advice on business matters absolutely for free, and they are accessible to all. My name is Yago Kira, and I'm the Adult Services Librarian at Hyde Park, Miriam Matthews Branch Library. Thank you for being here and learning with us today. Allow me to introduce Patty Ross. Patty has spent 16 years helping the wine industry gain traction online and has since branched out to help other industries grow their brands, including financial, legal, health, and beauty, motorsports, landscape design, CBD cannabis, restaurants, political activism, and nonprofits. Golden State Marketing and her other business, California Wine Marketing, were founded in 2006. Patty enjoys speaking on various marketing topics to help business owners understand the importance of marketing their brand online and offline. Please don't forget, before Patty takes over, next week we present how to get your business bank loan. And please don't forget, you can always search http www.lapl.org/what's-on/calendar for other programs. Thank you so much. And without further ado, Patty Ross.
Thank you, Yaga. I'm going to go ahead and start my presentation here. Here we go. Hopefully you're seeing the social media essentials for business now. I hope. Yes. Get a heads up or a verbal yes, please. I think so. Okay, so here we go. So social media essentials for business. Welcome. This is, of course, very important topic during these days here. So the world of marketing beyond social media, which we're going to talk about today. We have the traditional side, TV, radio, print ads, billboards, PR, promotional products, and then, of course, the digital side, in addition to social media, website, internet ads, email marketing, new things like text marketing and Wi-Fi marketing and geo-fencing and social media influencers and retargeting, a little bit of everything, right? So where do you go in this big world of marketing? I know it's going to be overwhelming, confusing. Where do you spend your time and money? All right. So today we're going to talk about social media alone. I'm not going to dive into many other things here. It's very important to have a good social media plan, right? So top 10 social media marketing mistakes. So don't make any of these in any particular order. But first one, no plan in place, right? No, not where to focus first. And that comes with having a marketing plan, knowing who your customers are, where they hang out. You know, you'll see here from the statistics on who hangs out where, what ages and what groups, on what social media platforms. So it's important to know, have a plan in place, know where they're hanging out before you go there, right? And then not being clear about the short-term and long-term goals, right? Social media tends to be a long burn, I call it. So it takes time to build that engagement and that momentum up with social media. So if you're looking for quick sales, immediate business, might not be social media. So you really have to be clear. That's, again, tying that into number one, having a plan. Not getting the basics right first. So what I mean by that is, you know, we tend to get caught up in this, all the latest, greatest features, especially Instagram carousels and reels and all of that. Just get the basics. Just start getting posts up there on your different platforms, being consistent with that, you know, getting the basics right. Not measuring the right numbers. Okay, so we all get caught up in what I call the vanity numbers. And the vanity numbers are, I have 10,000 followers on Instagram. All right, we're all looking at followers and like counts and all of that, but you're not looking at the important numbers as well. Like, what does it matter if you have 10,000 followers if they're not converting, if they're not buying anything or doing whatever action is you want to do with your business? It doesn't really matter how many followers you have if they're not doing anything. So if you're not looking under the hood and seeing what's happening, what does it matter how many followers you have? So measuring everything. And then expecting too much in too short of a time, and which ties into number 6, then you get disappointed and give up too early. As I mentioned in number 2, knowing your long-term and short-term goals. And especially if it's long term, you don't want to give up too early and expect too much too soon, as I mentioned. And then not having quality content in place, images, video, etc. You need to have quality. You need to have good pictures. There's a lot of free pictures on the internet. Of course, if you have particular products or things you need pictures of yourself, make sure you have good quality images. Video is very popular, as you'll find out from this presentation. So making sure you have that in place in order to create the content for your social media. And then thinking success will come naturally to the ones with the best product or content. Not necessarily. It's all about consistency, right? So you want to make sure that you're consistent and it's long term. Somebody might have been on Instagram for the past 10 years, 10 years since it's come out, and they built up 10,000 followers over that time. There's rare overnight successes, right? Trying to do it yourself when you don't like social media, or if you don't have time for social media. A lot of business owners try to do it, wear all those hats. You have to run your business, try to do your Instagram and your Facebook and manage your employees if you have them, and make your product and, do your service. So really, and if you don't like it, you're most likely aren't going to do it, right? Nobody likes to do anything they don't like to do. And then thinking everybody can do social media. So again, if you don't like it, it's not in your wheelhouse, you don't understand it, hire somebody that can, whether internally or externally. Make sure they understand the strategy. Not your 17-year-old nephew who happens to know how to do Instagram. Make sure it's somebody who actually knows the strategy behind social media. And yes, there is strategy behind social media. So starting with video marketing, of course, very popular, as you'll see here. Video in 2022, next year, 82% of the global internet traffic will come from video streaming and downloads. YouTube, of course, is the most popular video sharing platform for marketers, and 88% of us plan on using it last year. But of course, it's definitely grown. Obviously, with COVID and everybody locked down, a lot of things have happened via video, more so than in person, of course. And that's not going to change. As more people are comfortable with doing video than ever before, that number is not going to go anywhere down. It's going to go up. And consumers love seeing videos on social media. It's their favorite type of content. So if you're not doing it for your business, look into doing video content for your business. They want to see more content, as you see here on the bottom slide here. 54% of consumers want to see more video from their brands that they support. And 8 out of 10 people have purchased a piece of software app after watching a brand's video. They like that content, right? And videos, 90% of customers say videos help make buying decisions. They're more likely to prefer watching a video about it than reading about it. And that really depends on the product or service. It might not make sense for every product out there to have a video about it. But if it's something that you really want to see all angles before you make a purchase, how does it look on, if it's a piece of clothing? So it really can make a difference in sales if you have video of your product or service. And 64% of clients often buy a product online after watching a video about it. So definitely is impactful, as you can see here. Now, as far as social media, vast majority of videos are shorter than 60 seconds, regardless of the video or the industry rather. Optimal length for Instagram is less than 30 seconds. If you're doing how-to videos, you can, of course, do longer than 60, probably something more for your YouTube channel, Instagram TV. But just on a day-to-day basis, don't make really long videos, right? We are majorly distracted as humans these days. We don't have a lot of time. We're not going to sit for long videos. So keep them short. And videos on Instagram get 2 times more engagement than any other social media platform. That really has to do with reach on Facebook, as you'll learn here. And videos are shared 1,200% more than images, anything else combined on social media. So definitely it is popular. And this is an interesting one. So consumers, 39% are more likely to finish videos with subtitles. Of course, they might be checking social media while they're, around other people or at work, which they shouldn't be doing, right? And 52, about the same, 52% prefer pre-recorded versus 48 prefer live video. So not too far off. Most people watch Facebook video with the sound off. Again, might be doing things where they don't want people to hear or to be polite, right? And then this is an interesting one. Consumers are most likely to like behind the scene videos like and share funny videos, share educational, and like and share emotional. So why is that important? As you'll learn, it's all about engagement, right? If you can get people to really do any of these, at least one of these, like and share, comment on them, it's all about building engagement. And Facebook knows what's going on. So really look at your analytics, look at what people are doing with your videos and your content, and seeing, hey, do they really love our educational videos, or they really prefer funny ones, and adapt from there. So this is important, as you'll learn from this presentation. And then just think about this: 20%, people remember 20% of what they hear, 30% of what they see, and an amazing 70% of what they see and hear. So video, very impactful, as you can see here. And just to mention TikTok, obviously video, very popular, especially this past year, as many people were starting to use TikTok. Still a younger market, still, 16 to 24, even though the older markets are using it. That's going to be mostly your Gen Zs, Zillennials, as they're known. But the older audience are embracing it even more. A little bit more male than female, as you can see here. And globally, it's a lot of users on it. 26 million monthly active users are just in the United States. But again, depending on your market, and might not be your audience if you have a much older audience. And this is a newer one. I don't have the ability to ask questions here, but I always ask, who is familiar with Clubhouse? So a newer kid on the block, it's basically a social media. It's audio chat only. It is now open to everybody. It used to be by invite only, started about spring of last year. And it's basically rooms of different subjects. I love the where it says Clubhouse is like a party, university, business, concert, therapy session, spiritual group, dating app, network event, all wrapped in one. That's about sums it up. Different rooms on different subjects, personal, business, all of that. You join the room, you're joined in the audience, and you have the speakers up on the stage. You might be able to get asked to get invited on the stage, or set up your own room to be a speaker. But basically it's listening only, unless you are invited up on the stage to talk and add to the discussion. And it is starting to get monetized. There are a lot of people who are using it to sell their services, especially people who are coaches or sell programs. So I mention it because it's just a new one. There's an app called the Green Room that's new. And I believe Twitter is in beta mode on a Twitter chat. I haven't seen it come up on my screen yet. And I know Facebook is also looking into developing it through their Facebook Messenger program, which could be an app killer for Clubhouse or any others. You can imagine how many users are on social media. Sorry about my cat crying in the background. He's walked in the room with me as I have a repairman in the other room. So being a little vocal. But so let's talk about some more social media stats that are important to know. So age groups, right? So demographics, not too far off. Your 18 to 29-year-olds, that's Gen Z or Zillennials. Your next group, the 30 to 49, are the millennials, not too far behind on that. And then Gen X, that's the 50 to 65, the ones that we invented the internet, right? And then your 65 plus, they're on there, not as much as the other group. So if you deal mainly with the senior market, might be a problem on social media to get to them, but they're still out there. A little bit higher. This past year, we saw that more 65 plus joined in on social media, especially Facebook saw an increase. And that probably was because of the lockdown, right? Families were separated from the grandparents and they got them on social media to connect with them. But generally, they're not the biggest group on there, right? And what do they want? What do people want from brands on social media? Definitely not cats crying. Sorry about that. They want you to be honest. They want, of course, friendly, helpful, funny, to a point. Not so much on the snarky, politically correct, necessarily trendy. Kind of the same things you would if you walked into your storefront, if you had one. They want you to be helpful. They want you to be friendly. I don't know necessarily you have to be funny when you walk into a store, but generally, the same things that you want in any touch point you have with a business, right? And what can brands do on social media to get people to make a purchase, right? So they want you to be responsive, right? They want you to offer promotions, educational content, exclusive offers. Again, kind of similar to those top things that they want if they walked into a store. as well. Interesting visuals, again, a little bit on the funny side, this one a little bit less, to make a purchase again. So maybe you don't need a bunch of humor to actually get to the purchase, but again, responsive promotions, good content, all that are going to be your top. And marketers prefer, compared to consumers, both prefer Facebook as your top one, then Instagram is your second, Twitter, YouTube, Messenger, LinkedIn, Snapchat, Pinterest, WhatsApp, all of those. So as you can see here, the top three are really going to be Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. The others follow from there as far as use. As far as Facebook, so this is the number one platform, as you can see. Now pay attention to these demographics here. A little bit more male than female. On the age range, definitely the zillennials and millennials, but pay attention to that Gen X group when we look at the other platforms that I'm going to mention. 51% are on Gen X, the 50 to 64 range. So this is where you're going to see that particular range the most compared to the other platforms, right? So, and the top two reasons that people are in Facebook are, of course, number one, to connect with friends and family. Number two, to be entertained, right? They're not going there to shop, right? On purpose. You don't go, I'm going to go look for stuff. I'm going to go on Facebook. You usually go to Amazon or go on Google and look for your product or service, right? But so what can you do to entertain them perhaps while you're selling their product, right? So that's kind of a drive-by thing, just like you're driving down the road and you see a billboard ad, right? Not going there on purpose. Or watch television, you're going to see advertising. So number one is to connect with family and friends, and second, to be entertained. And people do discover products on Facebook. 78% of American consumers have discovered retail products to buy. I purchase a lot through Facebook myself. 96% of active users access it through mobile devices. So that's an important thing to know, especially if you have an older website that is not mobile responsive. If you're connecting to your website and they have to pinch it open and scroll around, not a good experience. In this day and age, everybody's website should already be mobile responsive. If you haven't updated it by now, get it updated. It's important for SEO as well. Google will ding you if you don't have a mobile friendly site. So very important for user experience and for search engine experience to have a mobile friendly site. And then, marketers love using it, of course. And there's 80 million businesses around the world are using Facebook pages. There's a lot of Facebook groups. I'll talk about that separately out there, so I won't go too deep into groups. And of course, a lot more people started using shopping online last year because of the pandemic, and it's only going to grow from there. A lot of people maybe had never tried it, were leery of it, but then, hey, we had to, right? So more people are definitely using it this year and beyond. So you'll see a lot. It'll be interesting to see how shopping goes again this year online for Christmas and holiday time. And so this is a kind of a engagement heat map of when the most popular time is to post to get the highest engagement. And you can see here, kind of if you go towards the middle of the darkest blue, generally middle of the week, kind of midday, middle of the week is going to be your best engagement on Facebook, as you can see here. And as far as the best times or how often you should post, we'll talk about best times, but how often, as you can see here, bare minimum. I mean, my bare minimum is really 3 times, once a week. If you're not doing any social media and the best you could possibly do is once a week, at least be consistent once a week. Just keep in mind with that low 2% averaging reach for your, especially on Facebook, organic reach, they're not going to see it potentially. So you want, the more you can do, the better. 3 times a week minimum. Optimal once or twice a day. I mean, once a day would be great if you can do it. Maybe 5 times a week, Monday through Friday, if you can do that. But avoid sharing a bunch of posts in quick succession or disappearing for weeks at a time. Again, consistency is definitely key. You'll hear that word a lot with social media and marketing in general. You always want to be consistent, right? And the best times to post, as you saw in that heat map, generally middle of the week, middle of the day, 1 to 4. Again, also in the evening, maybe 6 to 10. But, also depends on your audience. If you do have an older audience, they might not be checking as much as during the day. So you can test that out and see when you get the most engagement. But you don't want to post at midnight because that's the time you're up and working. You can always schedule. I'm going to show you a scheduling tool at the end here as well. So, but generally that's about the time frame you want to use to put up your posts so they launch at that time. Right. And you can see if you look at your Facebook Insights, you can go to the posts and when your fans are online. And it will show you this sample graph here of, well, generally, you know, for the most part, I think most people are the same. You know, we tend to, you know, drop off as we get closer to midnight, pick up again in the morning. But usually, again, midday it starts to peak and then start to drop again as the evening comes. But you can see from your particular stats and your insights on Facebook when your fans are online. So Instagram. So the second highest platform use. And as you can see here, pay attention to the demographics. If you remember the Facebook and you remember that 50 to 64 group was 51%, and now it's dropped down to 23%. So definitely the 18 to 29, 30 to 49, the zillennials and millennials are more on Instagram. If you're a 65 plus market, it's dropped down to 8% here. About equal male, female on here. So again, very visual, obviously videos and images here. So if you have a business that's very visual heavy, this is where you want to go if it fits your target market. Right. 1 billion monthly active users on here. It is, again, the second most engaged network after Facebook. 83% of Instagrammers do discover products or services on Instagram. And Instagram does help 80% of Instagrammers decide whether to buy a product or service. So again, it's not their primary reason for going here. Again, it's not really like Facebook where you connect with family and friends necessarily. You are discovering new interesting things, places to go, things to do, people to see, all that, things to buy potentially. So maybe a little bit higher than the other one. Businesses love using Instagram, as you can see here. And it does generate more interactions than compared to Facebook. And that has to do with the engagement rate. Again, that reach, the organic reach of Facebook is 1 to 3%, right? And the reason for that, if you think about it, with Facebook, you have different opportunities for content, right? So let's just say, for example, I have 1,000 friends, right, on my profile. So I have 1,000 friends, and then I follow 100 pages. You know, I like 100 pages, and then I'm in 50 groups, right? So if you can imagine, if all of my friends, all of those pages, and all of those groups were active on a daily basis, all day, every day, right? Maybe even half of my friends. Can you imagine what your Facebook feed would look like, right? So Facebook knows for two reasons, right? They know, hey, well, we need to generate income, right? They need to earn money. So they pull back your fans seeing your content. So because they're like, they want you to pay for it. But also too, they know you would have this crazy Instagram or Facebook feed, right? You would have a constant streaming of thousands of friends and groups and pages. So they have to throttle back that content to what they think is most relevant to you. And the most relevant to you is your friends that you like, comment, share, you engage with, your pages that you like, comment, share, and your groups that you engage with. So they really have to cut that back. Where Instagram, you only have your one Instagram feed, right? You don't have groups and friends and, you have followers. That's about it, right? You're not in groups and pages and all of that. So you tend to have more people who see your content and tend to have more interactions than you do on Facebook. And that's generally the reason, right? And on Instagram, obviously the most popular content at this point is still images, videos, 14%, carousels, which are multiple images. That's something relatively new, coming up at 10%. So still single images are still the number one post type on Instagram. And these are the different types of Instagram posts if you're not familiar with it. But basically the first one is just your post. You have your feed screen, and then your profile screen that shows all your profile info and some snapshots of your actual posts as well. And then this is what a carousel is. So you can actually, instead of doing individual posts for this particular party, you can grab 4 or 5 photos in one and make a carousel out of it. And they just swipe through and see it in one post, right? That saves you from having to create 5 or 6 different posts for one party. And then Instagram Reels. So fairly new. This is, like TikTok, But keep in mind, and this is something that Instagram just started earlier this year, they don't want you to recycle content from TikTok or other third-party video apps. They want you to use Instagram Reels. So they're kind of penalizing you for that and throttling back that content. So they want you to use Instagram Reels rather than uploading your TikTok videos on here. So keep that in mind. Start using Instagram Reels. You can still do TikToks, but again, keep that separate. Not saying you can't. They might not just show them as often as they will if it's an Instagram Reel. So they want to keep everything in the family, so to speak. And then, of course, Instagram stories. Everybody's familiar with those. Those are fairly not brand new, but they've been around a while. And Instagram was the first one to have stories. As you'll learn, everybody has them now. But you can do different things and you can post. You can do swipe ups if you have enough 10,000 plus followers. You can tag things. You can do great stickers. A lot of different, put hashtags on your posts. So a lot of different things. They only last 24 hours. But of course, you can save them to your highlights as well. It's a little bit different than doing posts. And the different kind of content types that they have out there. No particular order here. Of course, human faces. People like human faces more than without human faces on here. Pets, of course, are popular. That's my pugs. You might be able to hear my snoring pug in the background when the cat's not meowing here. Food is very popular, of course. It's a beautiful shot. Inspirational quotes are always popular content anywhere. Video content, that Birchbox is a how-to video for a makeup subscription program. Historical, like Throwback Thursdays. Here's Michael Jordan and Jack Nicholson, probably at a Lakers game, I'm sure, watching that. So they're throwbacks or historical videos. If you're lucky enough as a business owner to have user-generated content like GoPro videos, they don't have to go climb these mountains or go surfing or, ride sports cars with a video attached. They have their users, their buyers actually buy the product and use it and upload their video content and show them how to use it. So great for them to be able to have that user-generated content. Behind the scenes. So what if you have a business where you can show your workers behind the scenes or what you do, you make your products, very popular. Here's a Golden State Warriors behind the scenes in the locker room. So that's always popular content. And of course, people like landscapes and scenery, beautiful pictures. Color blue gets more engagement, but don't make everything blue on there. But, test that out and see if you do get more engagement with the color blue with your pictures. Real-time trends, they're out there that may make sense for you to kind of latch onto for your business. And then hashtags, how many hashtags? I get this question all the time. There's no right or wrong. Generally, you can do up to 30 hashtag posts. You can put them in the post itself or put them in the comments. For stories, up to 10 for stories. You can put 1 in a sticker or 3 in a text box. And you can do up to 30 for Instagram TV. And then these are the top 50 hashtags of 2021. If you're watching this and want to do a screenshot, you can do that. These are generally very broad. Millions and millions of people are using these. If you want to use any of these, you can on here, but as you can see, they're very generic. So there are different types of hashtags to use, right? So the number one, 3 different types, community hashtags. So communities you can use for your business. So for example, you're a baker, you're going to use, bakers of Instagram or foodies of Instagram or pastries, New York City. You're a fitness studio. You can use Wellness Wednesday or Fitness Friday. Wine industry, Wine Wednesday, right? You can also use Foodie Friday. So something that's more in your community. That's one type. Branded hashtags. So for your business, this is an example, Estee Lauder. They're using Estee Wishlist. You can also use hashtag Estee Lauder. So this would be your company name, tagline, maybe something in a product name in a campaign. And then campaign specific hashtags as well. So this is an example of the 12 days of this is the Teza app. So they use a specific one like the 10th day of Christmas, the 12 days of Teza. So if you have something that's specific, that's a short-term campaign, you can use a specific hashtag for that. Things like Cyber Monday, Black Friday would kind of be campaign hashtags that you would use. as well. So you can use all or some of them. You don't have to use all 3 types, but those are the different types of hashtags that you could use on Instagram. And the best times to post, generally pretty similar to Facebook, 11 to 1 in this case, 7 to 9 again in the evening. Test it out, see what gives you the most engagement. That's what it's about. Generally during the week, more so than Saturday and Sunday. You know, now that we're kind of out of quarantine, that changed when every single day was, a Friday or a Saturday or any day, right? Everybody was checking social media 24/7. So now that we're kind of getting back out there, it's kind of getting back to what it was before. And the same, how often should I post per day? Same as Facebook. Again, bare minimum would be once a week. Better minimum is 3 times a week. Again, once or twice a day if you can. Same. Don't post up in quick succession just to get posts up there. Spread them out. Schedule them out if you have a bunch of them, but don't make up for lost time, so to speak. Right. And Twitter. So Twitter is more of a B2B play, right? So 330 million users on Twitter. Demographic is a little bit older, 35 to 65 years old. Definitely more, almost double the amount of men than women that are on Twitter. Definitely more of a B2B play, digital marketing tool for B2B. But people do use it to purchase, not as much as Instagram or Facebook, but people have purchased products off of Twitter. And especially this last 4 or 5 years, right, when we had the former president of the United States using Twitter as his platform, good or bad, whether you liked him or hated him. But that changed the environment of Twitter, right? So a lot more people, a lot more politicians joined Twitter, the journalists and activists and everything. So there's a lot more happening on Twitter. I use it as my go-to source for breaking news because everybody goes to Twitter first, right? Before they go on television or radio or newspapers are printed, everything is immediate on Twitter. So if anything's happening, that's the first place I usually go. Again, sorting out, following all the right people that you want to follow. But that's what it's mainly used for, more business to business. Twitter actually started their own stories. They call it Twitter fleets. A little bit different. You're not going to be posting up your, what you ate for dinner and, doing stickers and all of that. A little bit different, more business to business. Still not sure on this one compared to Instagram and Facebook stories, but see how it goes. Best times to post because it's more business to business, Monday through Friday, generally during the lunch hours, more popular. You don't have to necessarily worry about engagement as much with Twitter, but best times to post, that would be it. Not so much on the weekends, especially now that, we're pretty much open again after the quarantine. And this is, you don't want to do this. So you can connect your Instagram to Twitter to Facebook, all of those connections where you share content, right? In this case, this particular winery, which I worked with them back in 2017, I looked at their Twitter feed and all it was a bunch of Instagram shares, right? And if you're a Twitter user, this isn't very good user experience, right? I don't want to leave my Twitter environment by clicking on an Instagram link. So and there's different rules, right? There's different things that you do with Instagram. You can't put a link, a direct link, right? You have to put the link in bio. Use different hashtags. Like I wouldn't use foodies or bakers of Instagram on Twitter, right? So, and you have stripped down content. So better would be on the right side where you actually load them separately, put the picture directly on Twitter, put your specific hashtags and a link because you can put a direct link in your content. There is a tool I'll show you at the end. You can use the exact same content with some adjustments with, like I said, hashtags and links and make it easy so you don't have to do I never do the linking, the different social media platforms together because of that. All of them are so different. Twitter is a little bit shorter on your content. You have those limitations on how many characters you can do. So it's better to keep them all separate than trying to combine them just to kind of save time. And then Snapchat, it used to be the baby of the family. It's no longer. It's now, like I mentioned before, Clubhouse, but still a lot of active users. Definitely the much younger market, as you can see here, is millennials, even the younger than Gen Z, 13 to 17. millennials, and a little bit, you can see here, it really drops off when it comes to the Gen X and the baby boomers. Really, we're not on Snapchat. So I will admit I am in Gen X, been around a while. So not hanging out on Snapchat here. Definitely more female than male, as you can see here on that. And that's a lot of yellow. Sorry about that. But generally, best times to post 10 p.m. to 1 a.m. When the kids should be in sleep before school, right? But generally, any time of day, any day of week works for Snapchat. And then LinkedIn. So this is where the business to business really comes to play here, right? It's the number one platform to business, again, followed by Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. I know Google Plus still exists on this from this slide, but still the number one is LinkedIn. And as you can see here, a lot of 740 million users in 200 countries, more than 55 companies listed on this platform. So if you do have a business, a little bit higher male than female, not too off. And the age group is going to be a little bit higher, upper millennials. I'm just thinking because it is business, people are going to business. People still use it to, as a resume site, looking for a job, put your resume up there and then forget about it until you want your next job, right? But generally, more people are using it for business and networking than ever before. Nearly 25% of all LinkedIn users are senior level influencers. So if you're looking for that market, that's where they're hanging out. And second most popular, it's really the first as LinkedIn, most popular among, just behind Facebook, but I think that has definitely switched gears on that. 52% of buyers list LinkedIn as the most influential channel to use during their research process, not to purchase, but during research phase. And now LinkedIn also has stories. That's brand new. Again, not a place where you're going to be posting up the burger you ate for dinner or pictures of your friends and family. Definitely more business related, your company information, what you're doing with your business. Again, it's still fairly new, so I haven't really seen the usage of it and how that's going to play, but definitely it helps with content. If you're trying to build your business through LinkedIn, if you're business to business, this is something to add in addition to posting on LinkedIn, right? Generally, best times to post, Monday during the week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Generally in the morning, people are starting to check their LinkedIn, not so much on the weekend, right? And how do you find leads on social media or LinkedIn, right? So here's some network do's, and there's some don'ts as well. You want to keep your profile updated, add connections to your network. You can look at who viewed you and then maybe add connection if they didn't. Look at former clients, and then look at connections of your first connections. Really look, once you start connecting with people in certain industries as well, they might give you suggestions for people to connect with, right? Follow your current clients and prospects, right? Write recommendations and ask for recommendations, right? Join groups and use LinkedIn to celebrate the accomplishment of others. That's a good way to grow your network here. Got to spend the time to do it. What you don't want to do is you don't want to give only because you expect to receive. You don't give at all, meaning if you're giving recommendations or asking for them, make sure you're giving them. You wait until you have a need, like maybe looking for a job or looking for a client. You want to be there all the time, not just when you're like signaling that you need something, right? You forget where you are. That basically means you're forgetting the channel you're on and you're not doing the right content, or you're not connecting to the right people, the right influencers and people in your industry that can help you connect, right? And that's if you ignore the signs. That's basically you're not looking at the people out there that can, that you should follow and engage with, right? You don't share. You're not doing anything to share content. You don't care. That might show. You ignore your team's network. So if you have employees, make sure you're looking at your team's network as well, because they might have people that are important for your business. And don't spam. Don't, do the bots, where you link with somebody and you automatically connect with them and you're automatically just like sell. Try to connect with them on a one-on-one basis. Say, thank you for connecting. Hey, would you like to meet for a virtual coffee? Set up a 15-minute phone Zoom coffee date, so to speak, and say, hey, I'd like to learn about you so I can refer business your way. I'd like to tell you about me. It's worked. I've done that on LinkedIn. So without spamming and just, pushing the sale without really learning who they are. And you can set up you should set up a business page if you are a business in addition to your own profile. So you create a company page, you want to post up content, you can do stories or actual posts. Make your company's name known, tell people you have a LinkedIn business page, right? And then add LinkedIn groups to your page, other relevant groups, so they can see your content, right? Tag people in your post. So if you're wishing somebody well, they just got a job, make sure you tag them. Or if they're working with you in some way, like say maybe they won an award, you tag them in the post, because they'll most likely share that as well to their connections, right? And you can use LinkedIn hashtags. There's hashtags that you can use as well on LinkedIn. So that's how to create, not the nitty gritty of how to create a page. You can get that information on LinkedIn, but make sure you do set up a page in addition to your profile. And should you pay for LinkedIn? That's a good question. I get this a lot. Maybe, the free version will get you the basics, right? But they do have some different levels of, depending on what you're looking for. If you're looking just to get a job, the premium career, you can do premium business. You get some features like you can contact people via InMail without having to have them connect with you. They might never ever connect with you, but you want to reach out to them. If you can get salary information, you can get learning videos, resume builder. If you're looking for jobs on the LinkedIn Premium and Business, you can do unlimited business and people searches. The Sales Navigator Pro will give you advanced search filters, and lots of sales tools out there. So really look at all of those and see what your goals are with LinkedIn. You may want to pay for it. Either the Premium Business or Navigator if you are business to business and you want to have those additional tools like reaching out to people and those insights and advanced searches that you can do for specific industries and things. So if this is your space, you might want to take a look at that and see if that works for you. And then YouTube, of course, video content, number one place for content. More men are checking out YouTube than women right now, little, 18 to 40. So it's, across the generations there that are in YouTube. Businesses are using it to post video content. Very important for search engine optimization too. People are going to find this. YouTube ads are actually very inexpensive and might work even better than some other social media ads. So that's another thing to consider as well. People do use it to discover products and services. You can post, best days to post show towards the end of the week, most views during the weekend when people have time to sit and watch videos as well. And then Pinterest. Pinterest is one that's used to be mostly women, and interesting enough, it went from 7 out of 10 to 6 out of 10 recently that are women over men. Generally, that millennial age in the middle, even though some of the older Gen X are still using it, but generally mostly in that millennial age. And the most popular content there, or most pins, is home design inspiration, interestingly enough. And more than 3 out of 4, or 77% of weekly planners have discovered new brands. They do shop, but this is an interesting one as well. During the discovery phase, so not necessarily to go there to purchase, but they're looking for particular products or information. So keep that in mind with Pinterest when you're posting content. Might not be ready to make that purchase of that product, but they are looking there on the discovery phase of things. So work on that, figuring out how to work that into your Pinterest strategy. And these are the other top pin categories. Like I mentioned, number 1, home design, women's fashion, health and fitness, weddings, party, travel. You might be able to work these into your business depending on what you do. Maybe, if you're a restaurant in Los Angeles, for example, you may be like top places to visit while you're in Los Angeles, and food and drink, or maybe a winery is saying, hey, what can you do in Paso Robles, California, while you're visiting there and coming and tasting wine, so see how these work for you. I've worked for a credit union and I was their marketing department, and we use these different pin categories around money, right? We want to save our members money. And so how to save money on your wedding reception, how to get coupons for food and drinks and groceries, how to DIY your own home design to save money. So all of these could tie in to saving money in some way. So that's how we used it at the credit union. And generally the best times to post, not during the weekdays, during not worst times are during the work hours, more in the evening. Maybe when they're home, they have time to pin and repin and to do some research in the evening, more so during the day. And then live. So Instagram and Facebook live. So why go live, right? Of course, there's different reasons. You can do product launches and demo products and host Q&As and offer sales and do behind the scenes, but make sure you're doing it right. You want to make sure you plan it out properly, as much as you can. Like, make sure you have the right lighting and the right sound. If you're going to be outside, be mindful that, a slight breeze could sound like a gale force wind. What you can do is, before you go live, just use your video recording on your phone and just do a quick little demo video and then play it back and see, is it sound right? Is the lighting right? Am I in the right place? Don't have to necessarily script it out, but, have a little bit of a plan in place, unless it's just a quick impromptu video. But, if you're doing something where you want to have it planned out, like a video or demo product, make sure you know what you're going to say. Make sure you save the recordings for later, of course. And then Facebook Live, definitely 27% increase last year, and it's continuing to rise again because of the pandemic. More people had to go Facebook Live because they couldn't go in person live, right? So definitely not going anywhere because people are now more comfortable with it, right? And again, I already mentioned Instagram stories. There's Facebook stories as well. Now, all of the platforms have stories or fleets as well. You can do kind of some of the same things, promote a product launch, demo a product. Can't really do Q&A or anything like that. But it also gets better organic reach than posts. And it has more brand trust because it's authentic. People, especially with all the fake news and manipulated content over the last 5 or 6 years, people are leery about what content they see on their feed, where they feel fake stories are more authentic. So there's different things you can use them for, and they do get more organic reach. And the reason being is because of the placement, right? It's always at the top of the page, above the fold. It never moves, like your Facebook feed, right? Or Instagram, same thing. So it's always at the top. So it always gets more engagement because of the placement of it, whether it's mobile or desktop. And of course, stories, Instagram stories, the same. It's always at the very top. So it definitely gets a lot of engagement compared to posts, right? That are always moving. And then Facebook groups, right? So Facebook under scrutiny because of all the privacy violations and fake news and manipulated content. So late 2019, Mark Zuckerberg decided that the future is private. Groups are being pushed more. I've seen TV commercials for them as well. It feels more authentic because you're in a little tribe of your own, right? Of whatever subject the group is, you feel like you're in a little private community. Might not necessarily be private if you have 50,000 people in your group, but it's off of your feed and your family and your friends and all that. So it feels a little bit more private, not manipulated content that might be in your feed. So there are 1.4 billion people using 10 million groups on Facebook these days, more popular than ever. This is a typical Facebook page, right? This company, Erin Condren's Life Planners, they manage their own page, put up their own content, right? A little bit different. But when it comes to groups, and they're lucky enough that they have customers who've created user-generated groups as opposed to doing them themselves. They had multiple groups, people talking about their products, buying their products, telling them what they're about to buy. So these are really, they're brand ambassadors doing the work for them. But a business can set up their own group. You can segment out maybe your top customers. Say like a winery might put their wine club in a group. So, you can give them that velvet rope experience. If you sell a certain product, maybe it's like a medical device and you want people to have that particular medical condition, you want to create a special group for them to talk about it, something in common, right? So you can use them for different purposes. But make sure if you are creating a group, be strategic about naming it. Look what people are going to be searching for, right? In this case, very easy, Bengal Cat Club. So if I have a Bengal cat, I'm going to do a search for Bengal cats rather than, Bootsy's Fun Adventures, Bootsy the Bengal cat. I don't know Bootsy. I'm not going to do a search for that. So make sure it makes sense for people to find it and search for it, And then, so most important, how do I grow my social media following, right? So always important. There's no magic fairy dust or anything like that. You just have to be regular and consistent, speak to your market, have a clear brand voice and brand identity, match the message and the format to the proper network. Include social media follow buttons everywhere on your website, in your emails, in your store. Have your links and your tags in there so people can find you. Make sure they work, and go and follow influencers, share their content. Hopefully they'll follow you back, again, via email. Respond, make sure you're responding to your followers if they're engaging with you on any of the platforms. Use hashtags as well. And then make sure you're looking at your stats to identify popular posts and topics, and use that. That's really, it's just organic, a lot of organic reach. You don't want to do anything fake that Instagram might not like and not be genuine content. So be mindful of that. It's all about just being there and being consistent. Right. And so calendar, I know we're in about 9 minutes away. I'm going to go talk about the calendar because this is a really important feature. I don't know if there's any questions yet coming up, but I'm going to go over here and probably end it there since we're coming towards the top of the hour. But this is the most important thing to help take away the overwhelm, is creating a content calendar. I do have a content calendar. If you reach out to me at Patty, Patty, at goldenstatemarketing.net, you'll get this Excel sheet calendar, very easy to use. It's going to have all of this stuff on here, the holidays, the non-traditional holidays like National Hot Dog Day. It's all about building engagement, and creating content that's going to build engagement. So we'll have all of these on here to build hashtag days. I'll show you what the calendar looks like on this next screen. And this was going to help you sync your social media and email campaigns. And again, build that engagement. Take away that overwhelm of like, I don't know what to post. I don't know what to talk about. I don't know how to build engagement. I mean, you still have to create the content, but just getting it on paper, getting it on a calendar, you'll see that you'll open up the opportunities to create content, right? So on the calendar, if you do get mine, again, Patty at goldenstatemarketing.net, just email me and say, send me the calendar. And once you do, you'll get every calendar coming out. My 2022 calendar will come out this end of this month for you to start your planning for 2022. But you'll get this tab that has hashtag days on it. So if you want to promote any hashtag days with content, all the general ones are on this particular tab on the Excel sheet. So you can do Motivation Monday or Taco Tuesday or Tuesday Tip, whatever, Wellness Wednesday, whatever fits for your business. Have fun with those. And then here's some content ideas. You'll get the part on the left. The right is only on the slide. Again, if you want the slides or the recording, you can, or actually the slides, you can also email me at Patty at goldenstatemarketing.net. And I'll send that to you. So you'll get some ideas on content to promote as well. So you can ask questions and, do FAQs, all different types of ideas. Do inspirational quotes, anything to, especially for Facebook, build that engagement, get those shares, likes, and comments, right? And then the national holidays. So nationaldaycalendar.com has all these fun holidays. I created a tab on my calendar for you just to go on that tab and go pull the ones you want to use, or you just go to nationaldaycalendar.com to find these as well. So for example, you can do, here's April 2nd, as you can see on the slide, National Peanut Butter and Jelly Day. Now, what does it have to do with your business? Maybe nothing, but it's something to get engagement. Like as kids, most of us ate peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. So you can say, wait, what was your favorite peanut butter and jelly sandwich combination as a kid? Or what did you like to eat with your peanut butter and jelly? I like potato chips. So, but that's going to get people to engage with your content. So use any of these that you want, to get that engagement. So this is the calendar. What it's going to look like, again, it's a simple Excel file. You can load it up in Google Drive and use it as Google Sheets as well. It's color coded. Very easy to use. You just start plugging in your social media. So in this case, it's a winery example. We put in hashtag days that we're going to use. You put in your emails that you're going to create, and you can put in your content like ask a question or inspirational quote. We can do social media posts for the holidays, Veterans Day and Thanksgiving Day. In this case, there's also Wine Tourism Day and International Merlot Day. We're going to do National Donut Day because, of course, you can pair wine and donuts. So there's a lot of social media content, as you see here, that you can plug in. You still have to create the content, but you can see here you have a lot of ideas to create content for. And then you also plug in your emails in orange, your events that you may have offline, online, or virtual. You want to plug those in and promote those as well. Blog postings, baby blue. We have one blog post on the 9th here. So as you can see here, there's a lot of content that you can come up with and create. And then once you have the shell, then you can start plugging in what are you going to actually post. Like on Wednesday the 18th, you can see here for that particular Wine Wednesday, I'm going to do a Merlot tasting video. So that's just a reminder for planning purposes and archival purposes. To show you like, okay, I need to get that Merlot tasting video recorded and up on the platforms, right? So pretty easy to plug everything in, and you'll find that it really does take away the marketing overwhelm if you get it all on paper. If you don't use my calendar, if you don't contact me for mine, use something, online or offline in the cloud, but use something that's going to help you get more content out there on a regular basis. And using programs like Canva, that's canva.com, to create graphics, super easy to use. I also use a social media publishing tool called Later, later.com, where you can post to Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, LinkedIn, and TikTok now. It's a free program. Canva's practically free, $10 a month. I have a lot of great templates and things to create content for you. Super easy, or find somebody to do it for you. So that's, as you can see here, once you create a calendar, you can coordinate your social media and email campaigns with that. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and end it here. I'm going to stop the share and see if there's any questions. Sorry, my screen is scrolling there. So thank you very much for attending. Do we have any questions come up here?
So we did have one. Are there any tips for a social media advocate for promoting NCAA women's basketball team and women's sports in general?
Oh gosh, that's very specific.
Very.
Gosh, well, I mean, really, any posting up any content to do, with the basketball teams, and I would say any women's content as well. Anything promoting women in sports. I'm big in women's in business. I'm a past president of the National Association of Women Business Owners. So anything to do with women at all. So I don't know if there's any specific tips I can do real quick, but if you want to have, I've mentioned here, and I can put it, I don't know if the chat, if you want a discovery session with me and ask any more specific questions, just go to callwithpatty.com, callwithpatty.com, goes to my calendar. You get a free discovery session. I'm more than happy to answer any more specific questions about the NCAA. But really just, it's all about content and featuring those women and women playing sports and encouraging young women to play sports as well.
Fantastic. Thank you, Patty. And then just a last question. I actually have a 1 p.m., so I have to go. But here's the last question. How to use lists on Twitter to learn more of competition? Does that make sense?
How to use lists on Twitter. I'm not sure what that is, to learn more of competition. I don't know. Sue, why don't you schedule a call with me? So callwithpatty.com, and we can talk it out some more. So yeah, I'd love to help you out with any of your questions you have. So either go to Call with Patty or patty@goldenstatemarketing.net and just say, hey, let's talk. Love to answer any questions for you. So hopefully that helps.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Patty. We really appreciate it. We want to keep to the time that was there. Your presentation was super informative, really comprehensive. Thank you for all the insight you imparted. It was amazing. And with that, I'm so sorry I have to go to another program, but we'll see you at the next one. Don't forget, have a great one. Thank you so much for all your help. Thank you, Patty.
Thank you, everyone. You're welcome. Thank you.